The isekai genre has grown from a niche anime category into a global storytelling phenomenon. What started as a simple fantasy concept has become one of the biggest forces in modern anime, but that success comes with a problem. Too many new series rely on the exact same formula. Overpowered protagonist, fantasy world, instant harem, repeat. Even industry giants like Kadokawa have acknowledged the genre's growing dependence on recycled ideas. And that's why so many seasonal releases are dismissed as generic isekai slop, but some series rise far above the noise. These are the anime that spark endless debates about morality, redemption, world building, and what truly makes an isekai worth watching. This ranking isn't based on ratings alone. It focuses on the shows that generate the most discussion across the anime community, the series that start wars in the comments section. So let's count down the 10 most discussed isekai anime of all time. At number 10, we have Tsukimichi, Moonlit Fantasy, a series that takes the classic summoned hero premise and immediately turns it upside down. The goddess looks at the protagonist, Makoto Misumi, and decides he's too ugly to be the chosen hero. No training arc, no heroic speech, just instant rejection. Fortunately for Makoto, she also grants him overwhelming power and drops him into a hostile wasteland where he quickly becomes absurdly overpowered. Classic isekai logic. What makes Tsukimichi stand out, however, is Makoto himself. Unlike many protagonists who rely on tragic backstories or exaggerated personalities, Makoto is calm, rational, and surprisingly relatable. He solves problems intelligently, treats his demi-human allies with respect, and rarely acts like an idiot just to move the plot forward, a concept that apparently is revolutionary. The series combines strong character writing, memorable supporting characters, large-scale battles, and world building that many fans believe rivals much bigger titles. Some consider Tsukimichi one of the most underrated modern isekai. Others argue it deserves to stand alongside the genre's biggest names. And after watching it, it's hard to disagree. Tsukimichi proves that even a hero rejected for his appearance can become the center of one of the most enjoyable and well-balanced adventures in modern isekai. Final score 8-31. Number 9. Saga of Tanya the Evil. Imagine being reincarnated as a little girl. Now imagine that little girl has the cold, calculating mind of a ruthless Japanese businessman who refuses to bow to a god he calls Being X. That is Tanya de Gurachav, and she is one of the most terrifying characters in all of isekai. While most series send their protagonists on fantasy adventures, Saga of Tanya the Evil turns into a brutal masterclass in military strategy, political intrigue, and war philosophy. Instead of collecting party members, Tanya is busy dominating battlefields and trying to outsmart a literal god. What makes this anime so heavily debated is Tanya herself. Is she truly evil, or is she simply a brutally efficient survivor doing whatever it takes to stay alive? Unlike many overpowered protagonists, Tanya's victories feel earned. Her strength comes from discipline, tactical brilliance, and relentless hard work. The series also functions as an anti-war story told through the perspective of someone with very limited empathy, which makes it both disturbing and fascinating to watch. Whether you see Tanya as a monster or the victim of a cruel divine experiment, one thing is certain: she is impossible to forget. Final score 8-61. Number 8. Overlord. Overlord is what happens when the final boss becomes the main character. Ainz Ual Gaon starts as an ordinary office worker and gamer, a man whose biggest challenge used to be surviving another day at work. Then he wakes up as an undead sorcerer powerful enough to erase entire armies with a single spell. And just like that, his corporate career is replaced by world domination. On the surface, Overlord looks like a classic power fantasy, an overpowered protagonist, a dark fantasy world, and enemies who never stand a chance. But the real reason fans never stop talking about this series is the gap between who Ainz actually is and who everyone thinks he is. His fanatical subordinates believe every random decision is part of a master plan thousands of years in the making. Meanwhile, Ainz is often improvising in complete panic, desperately hoping nobody notices that his internal monologue is still that of a confused salaryman. Some fans see him as a strategic genius. Others see him as the luckiest manager in anime history. And honestly, both interpretations are correct. That contrast turns Overlord into something uniquely entertaining, a dark fantasy about absolute power that somehow also feels like workplace comedy by combining psychological depth, world building, and one of the most memorable casts in modern isekai. Overlord avoids the formulaic patterns of average seasonal releases, and that's exactly why the anime community still can't stop talking about it. Final score, 8.70. Number 7, The Rising of the Shield Hero. This anime delivered one of the strongest and most controversial opening arcs in isekai history. Naofumi Iwatani is summoned to another world as a legendary hero. Within days, he is betrayed, falsely accused, and abandoned by the very kingdom he was supposed to protect. Fans were instantly hooked. The story explored revenge, prejudice, and redemption through a protagonist who had every reason to stop trusting the world around him. Naofumi's transformation into a cynical and morally gray survivor sparked massive discussion across the anime community, but the debates only intensified as the series continued. Many viewers believe the story lost the dark edge that made the first season so compelling. Others remain deeply loyal to Naofumi's journey. As a result, the comment sections are still divided between those who consider it a masterpiece and those who believe it peaked in its opening arc. Whether you see it as a powerful story of resilience or a series that never recaptured its strongest moments, Shield Hero remains one of the most discussed isekai of the modern era. Final score, 8.74. Number 6, The Eminence in Shadow. Sid Kaganu has one dream, not to be the hero, not to be the villain, but to be the mysterious mastermind pulling the strings from the shadows. The kind of character who appears out of nowhere, says something impossibly cool, and leaves before anyone understands what just happened. Most people grow out of fantasies like that. Sid turned his into a life goal. What makes The Eminence in Shadow so brilliant is that Sid believes he is simply role-playing. He invents secret organizations, hidden conspiracies, and world-threatening enemies for fun. The problem, every single one of his ridiculous stories turns out to be real, which means while Sid thinks he's living out his personal fan fiction, everyone around him is trapped in a deadly and very serious conflict. That creates one of the funniest and most unique dynamics in modern anime. A dark world domination story from the perspective of a protagonist who has no idea how accurate his own delusions are. The series became a global phenomenon by perfectly parodying isekai cliches while simultaneously delivering genuinely epic action. And then there is the legendary moment. I am atomic. A scene so absurdly over the top that it instantly became iconic. Fans still debate whether Sid is a comedic genius or a complete lunatic. The only honest answer is both. And that perfect balance of satire, power fantasy, and spectacular action is exactly why The Eminence in Shadow became one of the most discussed isekai of the modern era. Final score, 8.86. Number 5, That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. Here we have the series that proved even the weakest looking monster can become one of the most powerful beings in anime. Rimuru Tempest begins his new life not as a legendary warrior, but as a literal slime, the kind of creature most RPG players defeat in the tutorial area without thinking twice. And somehow, that slime goes on to build an empire. What makes That Time I Got Reincarnated as a slime so endlessly discussed is how dramatically it evolves. What starts as a familiar fantasy adventure quickly transforms into a massive story about nation building, diplomacy, economics, and monster politics. This is the anime that somehow makes government meetings feel just as exciting as full-scale battles. Rimuru isn't just overpowered, he's also a surprisingly effective leader. He unites monsters from different races, negotiates with powerful kingdoms, and builds a society where former enemies can coexist. Fans constantly debate his strength, his leadership style, and where he ranks among the most powerful protagonists in anime. And with good reason, Slime has become one of the defining pillars of modern isekai and is widely considered part of the genre's unofficial elite. Whether you're here for the spectacular fights, the world building, or the political strategy, one thing is clear: if your favorite anime doesn't include a slime negotiating international relations, you're missing out. Final score, 8.93. If you're enjoying the ranking so far, hit that subscribe button, because your favorite isekai might still be coming and the biggest names are just ahead. We're entering the territory of the genre's true heavyweights, the series that defined modern isekai and sparked endless debates. And if your number one is still missing, I fully expect a detailed 500-word complaint in the comments. Number 4. No Game, No Life. No Game, No Life is proof that a single 12-episode season is enough to achieve legendary status in the isekai landscape. The series follows Sora and Shiro, the undefeated genius siblings known as Blank, who are transported to a world where every conflict, from minor arguments to international wars, is decided through high-stakes games. What makes this show a permanent fixture in community discussions is its stunningly vibrant visual style and the brilliant mind-bending strategies the siblings use to outsmart opponents far more powerful than humanity. Every match feels like a battle of pure intelligence, and the series is widely celebrated as a masterclass in strategic storytelling. However, the real reason this anime starts wars in the comments isn't just the plot, it's the endless wait for Season 2. Since the original 2014 release, waiting for a continuation has evolved from a simple fan request into one of the most enduring traditions in the anime community. The recent return of the light novels has reignited hope that Blank may finally return to the screen. Until that day comes, fans will continue analyzing every rumor, debating every theory, and asking the same legendary question: where is Season 2? Final score, 8.99. Number 3. KonoSuba, God's blessing on this wonderful world. KonoSuba is widely regarded as the ultimate parody of modern isekai. While most protagonists begin their new lives with legendary powers and noble destinies, Kazuma Satu starts with one of the most embarrassing deaths in anime history. He literally dies from shock after believing he was hit by Truck Kun. It was actually a slow-moving tractor, and yes, the goddess Aqua laughs at him for it. In a moment of pure spite, Kazuma chooses Aqua herself as the one item he can bring into the new world, a decision he immediately regrets. His new party consists of Aqua, a goddess with questionable intelligence, Megumin, an explosion-obsessed mage who can cast exactly one spell before collapsing, and Darkness, a crusader with incredible defense and catastrophically bad aim. Together, they are one of the most dysfunctional teams in anime history, and somehow they are absolutely perfect. What makes KonoSuba so endlessly discussed is how brilliantly it deconstructs the entire isekai genre. Instead of a heroic power fantasy, Kazuma gets stuck managing what is essentially the world's most chaotic group project. The series also fuels constant best girl wars, especially as Kazuma's relationship with Megumin evolves from pure comedy into something surprisingly heartfelt by mocking the very tropes that dominate modern anime while still delivering unforgettable characters and genuine emotional moments. KonoSuba has earned its reputation as one of the funniest and most beloved isekai ever created. Final score, 9.01. Number 2. Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation. This anime is often called the grandfather of modern isekai, and that title is both a badge of honor and a source of endless debate. The series helped define many of the tropes that dominate the genre today, reincarnating as an infant, growing up in a fully realized fantasy world, and using a second chance at life to become someone better. What immediately sets the anime apart is its phenomenal world building, breathtaking animation, and extraordinary attention to detail. Every location feels alive, every culture feels distinct, and every step of Rudeus Greyrat's journey feels carefully constructed. But the real reason this series remains one of the most discussed anime of the modern era is Rudeus himself. Fans are deeply divided. Some view him as the protagonist of one of the most realistic and emotionally powerful redemption arcs in anime. Others find his behavior too problematic to overlook. That moral complexity is exactly what keeps the conversation alive. Mushoku Tensei forces viewers to confront a flawed character shaped by depression, regret, and the consequences of his past life, and it asks whether a deeply imperfect person truly deserves a second chance. As one of the undisputed giants of the genre, Mushoku Tensei has become both a groundbreaking masterpiece and a lightning rod for controversy, and that combination guarantees that fans will never stop talking about it. Final score, 9.14. Number 1. ReZero, starting life in another world. Number 1 was never in doubt. ReZero is the undisputed king of isekai discussions. While most series offer an exciting fantasy adventure, Subaru Natsuki enters another world expecting to become the hero. Instead, he gets trauma, a lot of trauma. The series is built around Return by Death, an ability that allows Subaru to rewind time whenever he dies, which sounds useful, until you remember that he has to experience every gruesome death in full before getting another chance. This transforms ReZero into a brutal masterclass in character growth. Every victory is earned through relentless suffering, emotional breakdowns, and the gradual solving of seemingly impossible situations. What makes ReZero the most discussed isekai of all time is the emotional investment it demands from its audience. The legendary best girl wars between Rem and Amelia have fueled debates for years, but the discussions go far deeper than romance. Fans analyze Subaru's flaws, his growth, and whether his early arrogance was heroic determination or dangerous hubris. As one of the defining pillars of modern isekai, ReZero proves that the genre is not just about power fantasies, it's about resilience, it's about confronting your weaknesses, and it's about continuing to move forward even when everything falls apart. That emotional intensity is why no other series could take the #1 spot. Final score, 9-20. That wraps up our ranking of the 10 most discussed isekai anime of all time. From genre-defining giants to psychological masterpieces, these are the series that transformed isekai from a niche concept into a global phenomenon. Do you agree with ReZero at #1, or is there another isekai that sparks even bigger wars in the comments? Let me know below. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe for more anime rankings. And if you want anime-inspired merch and other cool content, check the links in the description. Thanks for watching, and remember, in isekai, dying is often just the beginning